I am Liz Donatelli. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance, a romance novel talk show that features entertaining interviews with authors and publishing insiders. In this special episode, HarperCollins Senior Director of Publicity and Brand Development, Pam Jaffee, talks about her job working on acclaimed romance publisher imprint Avon and shares the must-read releases of 2021. Take notes and enjoy. Hi, Pam. Welcome to Reader Seeks Romance.
Thanks, Liz. Thanks for having me today.
It is a pleasure. As the Senior Director of Publicity and Brand Development at HarperCollins, you work on romance publishing imprint Avon. In what ways do you interact daily with romance authors?
I work directly on Avon, and I work on Harper Voyager, which is a science fiction imprint. So I'm kind of like genre queen, as well as dipping my fingers into other areas of fiction that is female focused and female positive. So it's kind of a nice, it's a nice broad specialty, right? I keep growing what I do. So I'm really lucky in that as the director, every publicist has books they work on seasonally. So we're all assigned books. So let's say I am assigned 6 to 8 books a season, and a season's 4 months, where I am the assigned publicist. I am in charge of the campaigns. I'm kind of thinking in an umbrella fashion and reaching out kind of to see within our author base who and what works the best for event opportunities or interviews, Q&As. I've really worked hard to cultivate contacts at Berkeley and at Forever and at Sourcebooks, trying to get more opportunities for romance authors to interact with each other, especially on their social and digital platforms, and expand audiences. So that's the brand management part of my job, is figuring out not only how to get media for authors, but also how to connect the authors with audiences and grow their audiences and grow their interconnectivity with audience. And a lot of that is, being able to kind of play the game of shells and reach out and say, I'm pairing this author with that author, and we're going to do this. And it's creative and it's fun. And every day is kind of a new challenge, and I love it. The past year has been really interesting with trying to work out virtual events. In a time like this, people really do want to connect with their authors. They're really, they want to be transported out of their living rooms. Authors are seen as, best buddies and best friends. So trying to figure out ways to connect readers with authors on a virtual forum. And we had done this years and years and years ago, and it just didn't take off at the time. There were no sales components. It was just fun events where authors were talking to authors, and they were moderated discussions, and they led to these great giant ticket events we did in bookstores and auditoriums and whatnot. So now we're back to virtual, but how do you make it not boring? How do you make it so that it's just not another panel of people talking? Yeah. So we spend a lot of time brainstorming, thinking about ways to kind of take the Zoom equation and give it a little oomph. And that's a lot of fun. So it's been a creative year in that. And, as I said, every year brings a new challenge. So who knows what next year's challenge is going to be? I'm up for it. Bring it.
Right. What are some ideas, if you can share, that you've created for virtual events to give them a little bit of oomph and set them apart from other events?
My favorite event that we did this year was a lip sync karaoke. So it was a lip sync karaoke contest held at night. We had 5 authors. They were challenging each other. They had to dress up. They had to have interesting props. And there were, 100 people in the audience. They voted on the winners. It was the best night in out that the people who had participated had in months. There was laughing. It was just joyful and hysterical, and it felt good. When I was a kid, I read a lot of Nora Roberts. It was such a huge honor when I was just a cub publicist to work with Nora on the McGregor books and to get her onto the CBS early show. That was probably one of the most exciting things in my career to that point and date. She's such a legend, and I'd been reading her for so long. And yet she seems so much freaking younger than me, and that's unfair. It was a blizzard, and it was really stressful, and we were going to Mexico on a family vacation, and I was in the 4th grade. So we went out the next day, and I realized, sad bookworm that I am, that in all the excitement and fuss, I didn't bring any books to read. And that's all I ever did as a kid. I mean, all I ever did. My father was like, "Are you ever going to do anything other than sit on the sofa and read?" I'm like, "Nope, nope." So I was heartbroken. My sister hands me a book, and it had a bright red cover. So it must have been like a Harlequin Desire or, Silhouette. And it was a contemporary. And all I remember of this book is that the couple was doing something on a copy machine. I had no clue what the hell was going on, but I loved this romance so much that was it. I mean, from that moment on, from 4th grade on, I would get on my bicycle and bicycle 10 miles to the used bookstore in Sayville, and I would spend my allowance on used paperback romances, bicycle home, and hide them under my bed and read obsessively. And so, full circle, this is where I am today. How to Find a Princess, Alyssa Cole, Avon Books, first female mass market original paperback.
Right on.
I'm working on for February Alicia Rye's First Comes Like. Now, Alicia, she writes sizzling romances. This one is her first sweet romance. And I have to tell you, it's not an Avon impulse, but the amount of sizzle factor that comes off of the two characters touching pinkies. There doesn't need to be sex. There needs to be chemistry. It was passionate without tactile passion. It was so emotional and beautiful. Pick up Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne. It's really special. It's another very sweet romance.
Okay, I enjoy Sally Thorne, and I'm very much looking forward to that book.
It's beautiful. Just on another front, Incense and Sensibility by Sonali Dev. If you're in a moment right now, like most of us, where you're in political overload and you're watching The West Wing because you need to steep yourself in kinder, gentler times, this is the book for you. It's really an homage to The West Wing, but written from a multicultural perspective. It's lovely. Well, I want to introduce everyone who doesn't know her already to Suzanne Park, who came out with Loathe at First Sight this year. It was one of my favorite books of the year. What a stellar new talent she is. Own Voices. It was about a woman breaking into the gaming industry and sexism and the racism she had to face. And she comes out so beautifully on top of the game because she just deserves. And Susan came out with incandescent talent. So I want to see where she goes next. So one of the books I'm looking forward to the most for the coming year to read myself for my personal pleasure is So We Meet Again. And that comes out in August. So it's a bit of a wait. The other one that everyone's going to want to read, of course, comes out in March. And that's Actor Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert.
Yes. I'm looking forward to Eve's story. Yeah, cool.
Two that people need to know about, and these are like biggies. One, Lacey Kleypas, Devil in Disguise in August. And then a little bit earlier is Wild Child. You love Eloisa James, so you're going to have to, read Wild Child when it comes out 3:30. So March 30th. And then something fun for anyone who is a Julia Quinn Bridgerton fan. We're coming out with our first graphic novel, and it's actually a graphic novelization of Miss Butterworth and the Mad Baron. So you might remember that from Julie's books. So that'll be out in June. Lindsay Sands in May has Meant to Be Immortal. I know we have Janine Frost, of course, coming down the pike at us. Wicked All Night, and it's out February 23rd. It's the last in this current series. I think people are going to be sad because they love this bad boy vampire. Just as a prognosticator of romance, someone who's been reading for so many years, it's times like these. It's really kind of weird and difficult times that we see paranormal coming back on a rise. And I've noticed paranormal's hitting the list more than not lately. So I do think we're going to be into an era, especially right now as we're in escapism mode, where paranormal is going to come back for us. That is my hope. And I'm hoping that one of the things we'll see are more like paranormal themed rom-coms. Fun, lighthearted.
I love it.
I'm hoping, that would be great. In 2018, we held an open call for submissions. And of course, with the publishing process, sometimes it takes a year and a half for a book to come out. But these are two phenomenal authors coming out with their debuts from Avon. One is Presleza Williams with Low Country Bride, and that's in June. And then the other one is Thien Kim Lam with Happy Endings. And you might know Thien Kim. She is the proprietress of Body Bookworms. So not only is it a blog, but she owns a sex toy business. And the protagonist of her book owns a sex toy business. And it's just great.
Well, Pam, this has been enlightening and a pleasure. Thank you again for taking time to join me on Reader Seeks Romance.
Thank you so much, Liz, for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I hope I didn't talk way too much.
No, there's no such thing.